Yeah. Umar was younger.
A few years here and there, right?
Yes.
But Usman, if he got his Khilafah on 23rd of Hijrah, and then he ruled for 12 years, right? So it is 35 years after the demise of Salahadeen.
No, it's 33 years after the Hijrah.
Yeah, 33 years after the Hijrah. Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just
So
interested.
they were all similar in age. Yes, they were all in the same age group. But we'll talk about his exact death, age of his death next week, inshallah. We'll cover all that.
I have one unrelated question to you. I asked you one day, one of the ayah, you said this ayah is abrogated. Then I was talking to a friend of mine. He said, how can an ayah in Quran be abrogated when Allah sends it? How could be invalid?
The question, and I'll answer this really quickly, but we'll get deeper into that as well, inshallah. He asked about, and he came to me asking me about a verse of the Quran, and I told him that this verse was abrogated. And he's asking, someone said, how could a verse be abrogated when it's in the Quran? This is a science of the Quran. One of the sciences of the Quran is abrogation. There are three types of verses in the Quran when it comes to abrogation. There are verses that were abrogated, but their reading and recitation were left, but the meaning was not. Like the verse where Allah says, whether they be Jews, Christians, or Sabians, no fear be upon them, nor shall they grieve, right? This verse was then later abrogated by the verse that anybody who seeks a religion other than Islam, it will not be accepted from them. So that's a verse that was abrogated, but it was left, but the meaning is no longer valid. There are verses in the Quran that were abrogated, meaning that they were taken out. They were taken out. Their meaning remained, but they were taken out of the Quran. And there are verses that were completely left out, meaning and abrogation. But we'll go over that in detail, inshallah, at some point when we discuss the sciences of the Quran. That's another, because I think that's one thing that's missing. I don't see that being taught a lot lately, is actually the sciences of the Quran when it comes to how you should view and look at the Quran. Because I've had so many non-Muslims say the same thing to me, that the Quran says if you be a Jew, Christian, or Sabian, no fear on you, even though Sabians don't exist anymore. But it says if you're a Jew or Christian, no fear is on you, nor shall you grieve. But if you look at it in the context of the when they were revealed, that one was revealed first, then later on it was revealed that if anyone seeks a religion other than Islam, it's not accepted from them. The same thing like alcohol. Abrogation of alcohol happened over a period of time. There's the beginning said that Allah says there is some good in it and there's some bad in it, but the harm outweighs the good, right? Then Allah says don't come to prayer in a drunken state. So that's the next step. And then finally it was completely forbidden. So you can't go on and say, oh, no, this verse says there's some good in it, even though the bad overweighs it, so I can, it's no problem. No. That was abrogated later on, if that makes sense.
Somebody caught me on that one. And he said alcohol was forbidden in the Old Testament and New Testament. How come Allah will legalize between 600 years and then say, oh no, it's illegal?
It wasn't legal. It's the point is that Aisha radiallahu anha wa radaha, she said, if Allah had began the Quran with the rulings of haram and halal, if He had begun the Quran with rulings of haram and halal, everybody would have run away. Nobody would have paid attention. She said, but He began with the verses of Jannah and Nar and Akhirah and Tawheed until the hearts were attached to Allah. Then when the hearts became attached to Allah, He began to reveal the verses of halal and haram, and people accepted them without any what is the word I'm looking for? Any reservations at all whatsoever. No, so that was the way in which Allah brought about the revelation. There weren't much rulings of halal and haram at Mecca at all. The rulings, the Sharia did not start coming into peace until after they immigrated to Medina. The first was to condition the heart. It was tarbiyah. Once the tarbiyah was in place, then Allah revealed the rulings. That makes sense?
Yeah, but one time I met a Christian preacher. He quote all this selective ayat in Arabic and even make the cover of the book look like Quran.
Mm.
They came to my house, and this is the thing they pick up, and sometimes we are not knowledgeable, and they get us, look at your book. That's what they say. And I saw in the debates, but he and scholar get them.
Yes, they do that all the time. And my response usually to them is that Jesus said, do you point out the speck in your brother's eye and ignore the speck in your own eye? You want to try to find problems in my book? I think you should go spend some time looking at your book. because your book is like Swiss cheese when it comes to contradictions. Yeah, you can find all these things you want in our book, but at the end of the day, it's the same thing. You can pick and choose and play however you want to, but the book is a complete. You have to take it in its completeness. I can pick out any verse from the Quran and misuse it. Muslims do it all the time. You have to take it in its entirety. And people like that have an agenda anyway. It's usually pointless to deal with them.
You mentioned about the England. I never been there. I wanted to go. I have my sister there. I saw on YouTube, this one brother, he's sitting in front of the masjid or something, like an old age. People come to him, subhanAllah, he discuss with them. He knows Bible so good.
Hmm.
And as soon as they say something, Quran and Bible, he can like, Ahmad Bidar or Zatin.
Hmm.
But he's from England.
Oh, mashallah. I'm not sure of his name, yeah. MashaAllah. Okay. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow. We have no program tomorrow, but then our programs will start as soon as I come back from the UK, inshallah. I'm going to go rescue my son from wherever he happens to be at the moment. Broke down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.